MJBulls is proud to produce the Raising Cannabis Capital podcast. Today's episode will begin after this brief message from our sponsor.
This ain't no desk job, but it's what you got to do to scale up to this in a single growing season. It's how in Oregon alone we grew and harvested the single largest crop of CBG in the world. Grit, tenacity, hell, whatever you want to call it. The crew at Hutton USA has it by the bucket load. Just getting our seeds in the ground back in spring and growing them till fall was nothing short of heroic. Propagation, planting, maintaining what we have, and building what we need. Trust me, this shit ain't easy. But when it comes to harvest time, our team bumps the bar up to a whole new level. Next comes processing. Everything but the top flower goes off to get turned into crude, distillate, isolate, and water-soluble ready. Our product, like our team, is nothing less than best in class. This plant has always had the power to change the world, but it needs people to make it happen. We're lucky to have those people right here at Hutton, USA.
And we said, well, what are cannabis businesses doing? And we said roughly I guess the data proves out 1 to maybe 2% of minority-owned businesses actually earn six-figure incomes. And there is clearly a need for us to inject something into the marketplace for investment in minority-owned firms.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. Hi, CE. Thanks for being on the MJBulls podcast.
Dan, thanks for having me this morning. Appreciate it.
Today, we're continuing our Investor Spotlight series with CE Hutton, the managing partner and co-founder of the Legacy 5280 Ventures Fund, which is a cannabis investment fund that emphasizes diversity. CE, most people know that the cannabis industry is exploding, but what I don't think most people realize is it's not exploding for everyone. Tell us a little bit about that and where you're going with this fund.
You know, when we looked at minority-owned businesses, almost $1.5 trillion are pumped into the U.S. economy. And we overlooked that and we said, well, what are cannabis businesses doing? And we said roughly I guess the data proves out 1 to maybe 2% of minority-owned businesses actually earn six-figure incomes. And there is clearly a need for us to inject something into the marketplace for investment in minority-owned firms, as well as the big three that we're targeting, which is biotech, real estate, and technology.
That is such a small percentage.
Absolutely, Dan. And I think it kind of jumped off the page at us and kind of hit us in the face like, whoa, really? And some of that, frankly, Dan, is not by accident. If you start to look at things like, incarceration for people of color around cannabis and, the arrest rates and those kinds of things, once folks are, they don't have access to capital, they don't have access to loans, don't have access to get into the industry, maybe given a record or just giving straight capital. We said, how do we provide a vehicle for good thought, good ideas to allow folks, if you will, Dan, to start creating their own wealth scenarios, their own narratives around creating wealth scenarios and finding those gems, if you will, and those diamonds in the rough that could really be beneficial to the industry.
You have access to an untapped market. That's
absolutely.
That's great.
Absolutely. And we were talking a little bit earlier around the different pieces, and it's not just so much the plan. That's what makes the fund so interesting, because focusing on the things that are already moving outside of cannabis, technology and biotech, cannabis just happens to be, if you will, the latest ride, if you will, in those two places, those two industries that are already taking place, those two verticals. And then also real estate, right? People need room to not only to grow grow, but to cultivate, to extract, to warehouse, to obviously and also sell. We totally believe, Dan, that we certainly couldn't go wrong by focusing on those three areas as part of our focus for the fund.
Yeah, I see that where you're investing in cannabis biotechnology, cannabis real estate, and technology companies.
Correct.
Those are sure hits always in investing, but with cannabis, it's got to be, those have to be your high percentage wins.
Oh, yes. And because then they're untapped, and it's changing again all the time. People are finding new and creative ways to go about servicing the marketplace. And it's phenomenal. It's staggering to think about. You hear something all the time that's happening. And we're very excited about it, frankly. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but truly excited about going in and certainly, uncovering, peeling back the onion and finding out, wow, that is a very interesting piece. And I'm sure investors will be thinking, hadn't even thought about that. And we've talked to investors, Dan, to say, I never even considered that would be a viable solution.
And not to interject here, but I think one of the best advantages entrepreneurs have in this industry is that we don't have to compete with established, wealthy organizations, and we can come up with creative ideas to solve problems. And I think we're changing the world just with the opportunity to grow businesses without having interference of established companies.
Absolutely. But, Dan, along with that, we certainly weren't and continue to ask ourselves, and not being naive, there is a continual and ongoing educational process, not just about the cannabis industry in and of itself, but how it's utilized and which waveforms or shapes that people want to invest or look at it. Because still, I think that a number of folks, and most folks will still agree, there's still a certain amount of questioning that still goes on, whether that be around law enforcement or whether that be around compliance or whether that be around the certain stigmas that exist. But I totally believe in what we're finding out through obviously societal attitudes as that continues to melt away, and acceptance and more understanding, give me more information, continues to grow. Because I think folks are certainly opening up the fact that opioid crisis has certainly helped folks look for alternatives. They're looking to see, how do we make different things happen with the plant to treat illnesses. Clearly our veterans are looking at it. Certainly there's been some buzz about the NFL and how are we treating pain and injury there. So as we start to get more educated and folks start to grow their acceptance about it, we're starting to see things start to leak out into other portions, which will make it much more widely accepted.
I want to take a minute to tell you about some really innovative things that our sponsor, Cream of the Crop, is doing in the cannabis space. Their brand is on fire. They have the 5th best-selling indoor flower brand in the state, and they're profitable, growing their business at 10% a month year to date. They're succeeding by helping cultivators turn profits through operation management and consulting in exchange for supply agreements. By bringing 30-plus years of cultivation experience, award-winning genetics, ultra-efficient SOPs, proprietary nutrient mixes, and their brand, they're able to help both operators who are new to the space and ones who want to just increase efficiency. In fact, they just increased profits for one of their clients by $700,000 per month. Just incredible. But what's really exciting is that they're expanding their highly scalable model beyond California. That's right, they're accepting applications across the country for 2021 and 2022 partnerships. Also, if you're planning to invest in cannabis, you should definitely look at Cream of the Crop because they're doing a capital round in early 2021 to help with their brand's national expansion. To learn more about partnering with Cream of the Crop or investing in their expansion, go to creamofthecropgardens.com. That's creamofthecropgardens.com. I know a lot of our listeners are interested in investing in the industry, but they're uncomfortable doing it direct. And
Sure.
An opportunity like working with the Legacy Partners 5280 Venture Fund, I think that's a perfect vehicle for them to be involved in the industry, but not have to do the vetting and
Yes.
working through all this. And maybe talk a little bit about how somebody can get involved and what benefits they'll have working with a group like yours.
Well, what we do is we thought about Legacy Partners, and this is something I almost left off and is probably key to your question earlier, Dan, was why was it Legacy Partners? Well, it is about a legacy. It is about a I firmly believe if you're not doing something or working in something that's going to benefit folks long after you're gone, what was the point? We can certainly talk about our children and families, but I think when you're involved in business, it should have a wider range effect and a wider range impact on what people are leaving behind. So the term legacy partners is certainly something that we came up with, again, being very thoughtful about it. 5280, a mile above sea level here in Denver. So
Oh, I get it. Okay.
There you go. So, that puts those things together. But we were really thinking about, again, longevity, sustainability, where we were founded, and folks becoming a part of that, become part of a community, so to speak, Dan. And part of this whole thing is for folks, and I'll give the information a little bit later, Dan, about where they can go to our fundable site and read more. But part of the things we're going to be doing with that is once folks become an investor in the fund, they become an investor in a sustainable wealth generation type movement. The back end of that, once folks come in, obviously investors at all different ranges, we're going to be issuing some products. Dan, if you will, t-shirts and hats and things that say that I'm a legacy partner. So they become something bigger than themselves. They get something to show their support over the organization and sustainability and wealth. And then folks clearly going to ask, well, what's a legacy partner? What does that do? So again, it's a movement that we're also trying to create with the fund.
We've been speaking with C.E. Hutton, the managing partner and co-founder of the Legacy Partners 5280 Ventures Fund. I'll have all your information on the MJBulls website. This has been really inspiring. I think you're doing something that needs to be done, and I love the fact that you're giving some people an opportunity to take part in this bull market economy that otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity. I think that's really noble, and I give you a lot of credit for doing that.
Well, Dan, I thank you so much. Feeling and knowing that there is an underswell, there is a movement and traction being gained in this industry, and providing them an option to say, hey, this is something I want to tap into. I believe in that mission. They're doing something much different than any other investment that's going on out there. And I certainly believe providing that option, and folks have a chance to feel like they're doing something bigger than themselves, if you will. So we're very proud of that.
Well, I'm inspired, and I'm confident our listeners are also inspired. So thank you so much for sharing this with us, and good luck.
Dan, thank you so much for having me on this morning. I appreciate you, appreciate the show, and certainly look forward to coming back again.
Sounds good. Crappie's Feel Better Company is a cannabinoid CPG company with a line of easy-to-use CBG, CBD, and CBN products built for the weekend warriors, the weekday Zoomers, and anyone in between. Crappie's next-gen products incorporate pharmaceutical-derived chemistry to precisely blend minor cannabinoids and terpenes, creating a series of proprietary formulas for hyper-targeted use cases. Harnessing a team of experts with over 75 combined years of chemistry experience, the company relies on its novel solubility technology, state-of-the-art delivery, consistent results, and unique eye-catching branding to stand out from the crowd. Crappie's executive team and chemists have created a vast and diverse product pipeline to maintain relevance in a saturated market. To find out how you can participate in Crappie's Feel Better expansion, which includes major retail placements, university-executed clinical trials, IP and patent submissions, GMP and API scale-up, and international distribution, go to crappiesfeelbetter.com or on Instagram at crappiesfeelbetter. Today's show was made possible by the generous support of our sponsors, like Alt36, the country's premier blockchain payment processing platform that's providing dispensaries and its customers with a safe and secure payment option other than cash. To learn more, go to alt36.com.